I'd say the citizens in Michigan really are having a discussion about offshore wind energy development and what kind of offshore development is appropriate and accessible. There are lots of different dimensions to be explored, whether it's how is it going to affect employment, will it bring back manufacturing, will it enhance tourism or drive tourists away? Not all of these questions will be settled right away. There will be some changes, no doubt, whether or not we decide to pursue offshore wind. I think it's a matter of how can we make the most of this opportunity to make sure that the benefits, to the extent they can be, are captured by local communities, and that whatever concerns and challenges are out there, that those are mitigated in the most appropriate manner possible.
I just think you're not going to have that view of the stars like you used to have. You're not going to have the view of the horizon. I think it will harm tourism to a strong extent here in West Michigan.
Tourism is the second largest industry in the state of Michigan. It's whatever else is happening, it's something that we know works. It generates income consistently.
But I think looking around the world, that there are clearly people that are interested in coming to a place that has wind energy facilities. Public opinion surveys have shown that people will take a trip to a new place to see a wind turbine. It's also been shown that some people say, no thanks, I'd rather not go and see an offshore wind farm.
It would be a huge disservice to the Great Lakes to not acknowledge that they're a unique ecosystem and different than a marine environment.
When they've done surveys of people that live in the Great Lakes state, that Michigan, probably more than other state residents, that Michigan residents really value and cherish the Great Lakes.
I think that people will like to go to the wind turbines. I think it's kind of a novelty.
I think people visit the beach not solely because of the view, though it is a factor, but they like the feel of the water, they like the beach, the sand, that there's other aspects of why they visit a beach, and that visiting West Michigan the tourism, I don't believe would be affected by it. The appearance of wind turbines in Lake Michigan, for some, is an industrialization of a landscape that they hold very dear. And so they really object to placing any such structures or facilities into Lake Michigan.
If we start to take that thing that stories and songs are written, and we start to place in it things that seem economically wise, I understand. But soon we've cluttered this thing that drew our humanity to a higher level. And we're cluttering it with factory waste.
Energy is part of our landscape already. We have a number of coal facilities that are on the coast, like the Sims power plant in downtown Grand Haven on Harbor Island. Then there's the facility owned by consumers at Port Sheldon, which you can see from the beach in Grand Haven, and the BC Cobb plant at the end of Muskegon Lake. These all have very tall smokestacks. They can be seen from miles around, but they've been part of the landscape since, in the case of the BC Cobb plant in Muskegon, that's been there since the 40s. The Port Sheldon plant has been in place since the 60s, and the Grand Haven plant since the 80s. So these are structures that people are very comfortable with. They've been there for 30, 40, 50 years or longer. So people have grown up with it. They don't really think about it. It's just part of the landscape that they're used to. Wind farms will be something new on the landscape, and that sort of change is difficult.
So if I see a wind turbine and it's in a field and the green grass is blowing, right, and it's just bucolic and it's turning slowly and it's beautiful, but that's a very different aesthetic than taking an otherwise open landscape and having it suddenly enclosed in a way by having a wall of industrial machines. How they are in isolation, how they are spread out in a different type of environment is completely different than high density utility scale development in an area that otherwise is, you know, one of our natural wonders. People draw spiritual strength from the beauty of our landscape. It's one of the amazing things about the state of Michigan.
People grow up here, they have a sense of place and a strong attachment to the area and the way that the landscape currently looks. So people have summer cottages here, there's a strong tourism component to the economy, and there are concerns that changing the landscape by creating an offshore wind farm may be harmful to the tourism industry, or it may be disruptive to that sense of place that people have really become attached to with these coastal communities.